Absolutely. A lot of things came up as you were talking. So one of the things, there's an acronym for FAIL that I've used. And one gentleman that I shared it with, he's like, oh my gosh, he said, thank you for sharing that. And the acronym for FAIL is first attempt in learning. That's how we learn. And typically, a failure is something that we remember, right? Because of that emotion. And I know I've probably shared this before. I always ask the question, human beings, we're emotional beings with logic. I don't care what anybody says. We are emotional beings with logic. The closer we are to something, the more emotional we get. But to your point, emotions fuel our thoughts and our mindset, which drive our behaviors. So it's understanding that. And sometimes we don't even understand our emotions. They're at the subconscious and we can't even explain them. And that's part of the biology, the makeup of the brain that comes from our limbic system. I've been doing a lot of diving into neuroscience and have been utilizing, you mentioned that I do a lot of people analytics, and there's a new assessment out called Agile Brain, which really truly measures emotion. Most assessments are cognitively based, which means people have time to think about the information and their response. So it's more cognitively based, which comes from the rational side of our brain. But this particular assessment really dives into the limbic system and into the emotion, which has no language. The rational side of our brain has language, the limbic side does not have language. So it's really important. And then the other thing that you were talking about was, so once you understand the power of our brain, Henry Ford had a quote that I use a lot, and I believe it. And the quote is, whether you believe you can or you can't, you're right. So whatever you tell yourself, that's what you're going to believe. And that's what you're going to base your actions or inactions on. So it's what are the stories that we tell ourselves, because those will impact. And those stories, whether it's an individual or an organization, even as an organization, we tell certain stories. And those things can hold us back.